Mr. Secretary, when using your definition of DEI, I think there's only one individual at the Pentagon right now who got his job based on that merit, and that is you. And you got it because of sucking up to your boss. And with that, you're requiring 8% cuts across all services, not to save the taxpayers' money, but to fund President Trump's pet projects. You talk about quality of life for our service members, but yet you take $1 billion away from the Army that was meant to improve their barracks. Now you have repeatedly said that you will judge every individual on their merit. Is that true?
Unlike the previous administration,
You will
yes,
judge
we are focusing
simple yes
on,
or no.
for our service
Judge
members,
everybody
how
on their
good they
merit.
are at their job, yes.
But yet you are separating thousands of service members who are performing and doing their job at a high level. They are being separated not based on merit. You know, some of them have been recommended for early promotion and have gotten awards and are doing a great job, but you are separating for no other reason, and frankly, I think you just don't like them.
Today's hearing with Secretary Pete Hegseth is a striking example of the growing concerns about politicization within the military and mismanagement at the Pentagon.
Mr. Secretary, so many topics to cover. I represent California's 31st District, located in Southern California, where you've deployed the National Guard and Marine Combat Battalion in an effort by this administration to provoke a confrontation. God only knows for what reason. As my colleague from Tennessee mentioned, the military has been activated before by the president, but let's tell the whole story. President Johnson federalized the troops after the governor of Alabama activated them to keep black students out of the University of Alabama. President Johnson did it so the students could attend the university. He did it for the right reason. He corrected a wrong. California did not ask the president for help, and the presence of the military is an effort by this administration to intimidate and incite fear and violence amongst its citizens. You failed at ensuring basic operational security by sharing classified data over an unclassified network. This was blatant, lazy, and put service members' lives at risk. And knowing that your office is a SCIF, I hope you are not bringing in your devices, your personal cell phone, or even your work phone, because that's not supposed to be in there either, right, your cell phone, into your office to send these signal chat texts. Your blatant lack of basic OPSEC would have gotten you forced you to resign from any other administration. You're requiring 8% cuts across all services, not to save the taxpayers' money, but to fund President Trump's pet projects. You talk about quality of life for our service members, but yet you take $1 billion away from the Army that was meant to improve their barracks and their living. You said that money waste, but we don't know that yet because we haven't seen a budget. If the president has projects he wants funding for, you need to come before this body and provide reasoning, not just shift money around. Right now, you are stealing from our service members, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Now you have repeatedly said that you will judge every individual on their merit. Is that true?
Unlike the previous administration,
You will
yes,
judge
we are focusing
simple yes
on,
or no.
for our service
Judge
members,
everybody
how
on their
good they
merit.
are at their job, yes.
But yet you are separating thousands of service members who are performing and doing their job at a high level. They are being separated not based on merit. You know, some of them have been recommended for early promotion and have gotten awards and are doing a great job, but you are separating for no other reason, and frankly, I think you just don't like them. And you are classifying many of them as a national security threat, which is simply not true. You asked the Secretary of the Navy to change the name of the ship, because Harvey Milk didn't meet your definition of warrior ethos. If a Korean War veteran and a Navy diver who gave his life for standing up for his beliefs doesn't meet your definition, I don't know what will. You keep talking about recruiting, but let's face the facts here, right? Recruiting started improving before President Trump even came into office, and the reason that changed was because of the investment that was put into recruiting. Now, I was at the Pentagon at the time, and I know how much we invested in it, and I know how much of the services. And when you take away that investment, you're going to get exactly what happened in President Trump's first administration. In 2019, we had the same recruiting crisis that, back in 2019 when he was president the first time. You continue to attack diversity, but I have always said diversity is about creating opportunity, and I have seen plenty of individuals, many of them enlisted members, who when given the opportunity have succeeded, not because of their sex, not because of color, not because of their sexual identity, but because of their worth ethic and merit. Mr. Secretary, when using your definition of DEI, I think there's only one individual at the Pentagon right now who got his job based on that merit, and that is you, and you got it because of sucking up to your boss. And with that, I yield back.
Congressman Gil Cisneros from California didn't hold back, delivering a blistering critique that went straight to the core of how this administration is treating our troops. Cisneros began by pointing out the deployment of National Guard and Marine units in Southern California, framing it not as a matter of security but as a deliberate provocation, an unnecessary show of force that intimidates citizens rather than protects them. He contrasted this with historical precedent, referencing President Lyndon Johnson's federalization of troops in Alabama to uphold civil rights, a move that corrected a clear injustice, unlike today's militarized stunts. Cisneros then moved to operational security, highlighting a fundamental lapse: classified data being transmitted over unsecure channels. This isn't just bureaucracy, it's putting service members' lives at risk. The way Hegseth has allowed personal devices and unsecured networks into sensitive areas reflects a careless disregard for basic military protocol, a failure that in any other administration would have prompted resignation or dismissal. Next, Cisneros moved to operational security, highlighting a fundamental lapse: classified data being transmitted over unsecure channels. This isn't just bureaucracy, it's putting service members' lives at risk. The way Hegseth has allowed personal devices and unsecured networks into sensitive areas reflects a careless disregard for basic military protocol, a failure that in any other administration would have prompted resignation or dismissal. Next, Cisneros addressed the troubling budgetary decisions: an 8% across-the-board cut to the services, not to increase efficiency or save taxpayer money, but to fund pet projects of the administration. He made it clear that this is directly harming the quality of life for troops. Funding for barracks, training, and essential services is being reallocated for political priorities. This robbing Peter to pay Paul approach undermines morale and operational readiness at a time when our military faces real-world challenges globally. Cisneros didn't shy away from the issue of merit. Hegseth repeatedly claimed that decisions are based on performance, yet thousands of service members are being separated despite exemplary service, promotions, and awards. These are not cases of underperformance, they are likely personal or political decisions disguised as security concerns. Cisneros highlighted the absurdity of using arbitrary definitions of warrior ethos to rewrite history, citing a Navy ship renaming and the dismissal of Korean War veterans who embodied true bravery and sacrifice. Recruitment and diversity were other key points. Cisneros reminded the committee that improvements in military recruitment were underway long before this administration, thanks to sustained investment and opportunity. By cutting these programs and attacking diversity initiatives, the Pentagon risks returning to the recruiting crises seen in 2019. Cisneros emphasized that diversity isn't about quotas, it's about opportunity, allowing capable, dedicated service members to succeed based on merit, commitment, and work ethic. Finally, Cisneros delivered the line that captured the heart of his criticism: the Pentagon is currently filled with leaders who gained positions not by merit but by loyalty to the administration. He suggested that Hegseth's rise is emblematic of a system that rewards sycophancy rather than competence. In other words, the politicization of leadership undermines the very principle of a neutral, professional military. The takeaways from this hearing are profound. First, the American military must remain apolitical and merit-based. Leadership should be accountable to the troops, not political agendas. Second, operational security and fiscal responsibility are non-negotiable. Risking lives or misallocating funds for political theater is unacceptable. Finally, diversity and merit-based opportunity are crucial for a modern, effective military capable of responding to global challenges. Cisneros' forceful and informed questioning provides a model for holding leadership accountable, ensuring that those who serve our country are respected and protected. This isn't about partisan politics, it's about defending the integrity of the U.S. military and the well-being of our service members. Hegseth's responses raise serious concerns about competence, priorities, and the influence of political loyalty over merit in Pentagon leadership. Viewers should understand that what's happening here affects not just the troops, but national security, military readiness, and the values our armed forces stand for. Call to action: stay informed about Pentagon policies, question how leadership decisions impact our service members, and hold those in power accountable for protecting the integrity and safety of the military. This is not just oversight, it's a defense of our democracy and the men and women who serve it.